Alright, we'll start. Yep.
Hello, welcome everybody. Round 2 here at Autopolis for the Super Formula RaceOnOz. They've started a little bit ahead of schedule, so they got me just off guard, but here is the 10 drivers lining up. Norm got the top spot from Razor, Groover and Chobadog, and tonight I have Daniel, also known as XL, sitting next to me.
Hello.
Excited for this one?
Very excited. Very excited.
Let's see what happens. Here we go. It is an hour. Green light racing, and everybody off towards the first. Groover flying off the start there, splitting the field down the middle and absolutely splintering the rest of the field as they all charge into the blind first corner apex, which is a bit of a downhill at the same time, so everybody's navigated that one nicely. And it's searching for room at the moment. Razor, though, sitting in behind, and Norm does try to give Groover a little bit of his own medicine back, but Groover all over it at the moment. Who, by the way, it's an early, quick start from everybody. No incidents as turn one. Who's your early favourite?
I reckon Norm's a sort of sneaky back of the field chance here. He's had a lot of racing with the SF19. Reckon he's my bet here if he can work the strategy out pretty quickly.
Yeah, the strategy is going to be an interesting call today. It's going to have to be a little bit of fuel. Are they going to get through all the fuel in an hour? I'm not sure what the Super Formula is like over an hour. Definitely their tyres aren't going to go the distance.
Depends how you use your overtake. I reckon the overtake's going to have a bit to do with it. Like if you're gentle on the overtake and just using it to attack, I reckon you're going to be all right. Use it for the last 15 minutes. So I reckon you're
right.
A sneaky chance here.
If you aren't familiar with the overtake, it's the KERS system on board these beautiful cars, and the green LED lights you see let everybody know that they've got more than 50% remaining. I think, is it 50% or 25%? Because I noticed it goes red at over 50. I think it's
not too sure. Can't confirm.
No, fair enough. I think it's 50%. But so keep an eye on that. Green at the moment while they're above it. There's Razor, though, giving Norm the elbows out. Oh, and Razor cuts the inside corner a little bit. Bit of the back end squiggles. And somehow we still kept ahead. Norm takes this opportunity to squeeze around the outside. Razor squeezes him off the road. He's entitled to do that, being the car ahead. But Norm did have the traction and the pace. Into the tight left-hander they go once again. Side by side they clang. That's our difficult corner too to get right. And they did it too wide. And they're chasing Groover now, who's building up the lead, 1.7 seconds. But it's this battle now for second, third and fourth that has really got us licking our lips. It's an interesting race for the next 57 minutes. We've got Chris is here. Welcome. Our weekend's been pretty damn good. If you did watch the Nations Cup, it was an exciting finish with Miyazono and Cody Nikola Latopsky, who seems to not catch a break in the FIA events. He just pipped at the line by 3 hundredths, so 300ths of a second. So an incredibly close finish. If you need to watch the ending, it is on the Facebook. I just posted it after the end. But tonight it's the Super Formula race, and right now it's Groover leading the field over the rest of these cars here in the SF19s. And Daniel saying, hold off your overtake to the last 15 minutes at the moment. I don't think we've seen anyone use it. You'll know they're using it if you see that LED flash white. Looks like it's flashing white anyway when they're using it. So it's a KERS system, bit of a boost. At the moment, though, it's
Razor's started to use a little bit of his overtake. I reckon he's just trying to hang on to the back of Groover here.
Yeah, Razor. It's an early use of it. Yeah, he had a flying start. Watch this replay from him at the beginning. Watch Groover. He's about midway through the pack here. We're on board with Chobadog, and see Groover flying off the start and splitting the field, and he was already in first place before the first turn, and then there wasn't much reply after that now. So a great little start there. Back on board with Chopper Dog here. He's in 5th place. He did start 4th, so he's lost 1 position since the beginning. And you can see there are gaps starting to form amongst them. Back up the front though, it's Groover 33 and Razor just trying to stay within that slipstream and let Groover do all the work and punch the hole in the air. That will mean Razor can slipstream a little bit. He might be able to even short shift. Let's see if he is doing that. We've got the technology. Watch his revs and his gear changes when we get to the straighter parts of the track. He has used a little bit of overtake. You can see on the bottom right hand of your screen it's not quite full.
Just like to point out that everyone from Revo, Brian, down Little Blacko, Pubs and Hatfield are all on the medium tyres, so wonder if that's going to play any sort of part in the strategy that they're trying to go for.
Yeah, that's another important point, isn't it? They've got to use the medium tyre.
The hard tyre and the soft tyre.
Oh, they've got to use all 3 for this round. All right. Different rules for the endurance, is it?
Yeah, they sort of throw up little bit of tyre strategy. This season was invented by Mint Matt, who you would have just saw running for Porsche in the manufacturer series that was on yesterday.
And he made it in the final today as well.
He made it into the final today, yes.
But he didn't quite go to plan for Matt.
No. But he pulled up a podium yesterday, which is pretty impressive for the young Australian lad.
It is. I didn't quite get to see the manufacturers. I've got to go back and actually watch it, but I did hear there was some success.
Got into the car with soft tyres on and was trying to catch up in his last stint around Bathurst of all places. Just unfortunately with the pace of the BMW, you couldn't quite pull it together, but managed to keep it tight. He didn't hold on to second.
Well, let's go through the tyres. He says so. Groover. I'm going to try keep a record of it here. Started on the softs, and then it's Razor on the softs as well. We've got to use all 3. Remember, Norm is also there on the softer. I kept calling him Norm MC, but it's Norm XC, so hopefully Norm doesn't get too annoyed when he watches the stream back when I do that. This is 4th place. Captain Risky also on the softer tyre. And same for Chopper Dog, who had Olivia cheering him on last week. Don't know if she's here at the moment. Holden Man though on the softs, and you can see the tyres on the front right starting in the front left as well. They're quite equally matched, but they're starting to disappear on him. Compound starting to lose away. Revo Brian though looks like he's primed for a move. Holden Man keeps it tight around the apex, and Brian now inside the slipstream is going to try get him into the first turn. Let's see what happens. Slingshot engaged, side by side they go. Holden Man still 6th place. Revo, it's the battle of the late breakers, and once again around the outside he goes in the all white SF19, but it was Brian who managed to just stick ahead, and Little Blacko arrived on scene and he wants to be part of this action as well. Great little scrap forming between these 3 down the order a little bit, so watch out for these guys later on when their strategies are starting to reel them back into the front of the pack, and Little Blacko is on the medium tyre. And thank you, Chris, for liking the stream, one of our all-time regulars and massive supporter here on Demo 1, so thank you very much. And don't forget Brian also on the mediums. So yeah, you were saying Matt, was it Mint Matt that conceptualised the strategy for this race, was it?
No, he invented the entire season.
Oh, well, there you go.
Everything that you see here for the next 6 weeks after tonight was down to Mint Matt.
Well, we had a pretty good, interesting run strategy-wise last week at Nürburgring. So hopefully we can continue that run here tonight. Hatfield down at the very back end in 10th place on the slower mediums. His fuel, though, looks okay. So that is how things look at the moment, strategy-wise. Groover leading the pack, though. He did have a bigger lead over Razor earlier on, but Razor's managed to pull him in slightly. And Autopolis is a tricky track to get right, but these two at the moment, they're nailing the corners as they charge at them at full pace. What do you think of this track? It's quite a technical track. Lots of corners, lots of different barriers and obstacles to overcome, especially for turn one. If you don't get that right, you're up screwed.
It's one of those tracks where you need to get into the flow of the circuit. You need to be on the hammer for the whole track, but it's one of those ones where if you get one corner wrong, it can impact you for the entire lap.
That's true. That is so true. Groover, though, at the moment, staying mistake-free. He's built his lead a little bit through this third sector, boat to 1.1, and he'll come across the timing line now to start lap 8. But this was the start, Groover. I wanted to show everyone. Watch how quick he was off the line here. Huge launch. And it was just goodbye, everybody, eat my dust. Groover into the lead. And there was absolutely nothing Norm or Razor could do about it at this point. It was a bit of a tussle for second and third. Norm did have the advantage over Razor slightly. But Razor then squeezed on through. He was earlier on the brakes into the third turn. And that's where things have basically remained. As we've already gone 12 minutes into this race. So this race is flying by at a rate of knots already. And it's been relatively clean. I don't think there's been any complaints from anybody about scrappy driving. There's Brian in fifth place.
This is one of those tracks where everyone sort of seems to get separated out a bit, like SF19, high aero, a lot of corners. Or Razor's just had a moment as I'm sitting there watching him. Hasn't seemed to have lost too much though. Seems to still be on the back of Groover here.
He does. Let's have a quick look. We'll get that on replay. So Razor. Oh, he did too. Just got the back end of it. He's back in form now. But yeah, he needs to stay calm and just carry on at that point. Here's another better look at it. So Razor was getting quite close to the back of Groover. And yeah, running wide. He's looking for all the track and more. And you hit that grass and it's going to send your car off balance and sideways and all sorts of directions that you cannot predict. Got a question. Dragon asking, I know they haven't got BOP turned on, so do they allow tuning as well for this race?
No, tuning's switched off. They kind of like to try and make it between driver versus driver, more so than who can tune the car a little bit better than the next person.
Right.
We do have our tuning series, which is the World Endurance Tour. So if you're a fan of tuning, you'd like to have a squiz at it. I'm sure Josh will try and get some of the races fixed up, depending on what his schedule is.
We'll try. I've gone a little bit busier this year. I've got more RaceOnOz stuff now. I've got Project Cars 2 coming along. So that starts in a couple of weeks. Check the calendar. I've just realised as well, I don't know when Facebook added it, but they've let me start events and then link the stream to the calendar event. So I'm going to start doing that as well if you're on Facebook. But there is a Google Calendar if you go to the website at demo1garage.com. Go to the menu, hit the streams calendar. You'll find everything there. There's Norm into the pits for the first time. Captain Risky follows him in. Any fuel for Norm? No, he's straight in and out. Soft tire to medium. And Captain Risky, soft to medium as well. So they were in after lap 9, after the soft tire. So that's Risky on the medium and Norm as well. I do want to program a little overlay that I can sit here and type in the the compounds as they're being used, so it shows up on your screen. But at the moment, I've just got pen and paper, and that does just as good. It's a little less complicated. Groover still leads, now almost up to 2 seconds. Razor has kept him within striking distance, but he's outside slipstream advantage now. So keep an eye on that flashing LED light on the top of Razor's car. If it starts to flash, that meaning he is using that stored Kerr's energy. Ethan Jordan, welcome, and thank you very much for hitting the like button. Oh, what has happened to the front runner? Groover was in all sorts of trouble. The lead has changed. Razor now leads. Let's see what happens at the end of this lap, and I will get you back a replay of it, but Groover falling off the pace a little bit, and he was in trouble. Are they going to follow each other into the pits? Oh, and he's had trouble entering as well. Groover, he's letting the mistake get to him. So the front runners get into the pit lane. And
so it's a funny one because Brian has barely used any tyres. His fuel's looking just as good as anyone else on track. I reckon there's a sneaky chance of a win here, just purely through strategy.
Very possible. Chopper Dog's in as well. He's getting fuel now. And he's onto the medium. So he's actually used all 3 compounds now, Chopper Dog. So he's good to do whatever he wants from here on in. Revo Brian's taking the lead of this one. Like you said, let's have a look at his tyre. His mediums, they're hardly used. That's what you call driving. That comes down to your driving style as well, as much as. So Revo Brian must be very delicate on the turn-ins to keep his tyres in such good condition. But this is Norm and Razor. Let's show you that incident that Razor was involved in. He's already second there. No, sorry, it was Groover that was involved, not Razor. That's what it. Oh, he just went wide. I don't know if that part of the track he did it at too. He's got a bit of a camber. It's a double right hand turn. We're just on the part of the track now. He got through there okay this time. He does have the traction with the new medium tyres. Let's have another look at it. Look at his tyres as they were at this moment. Absolutely gone and understeered and everything. And that's easy to do in the SF19. I was watching the guys do practice laps, and I was watching their onboard footage, and just the amount of understeer these cars seem to have, the amount of turn they had to use was enormous. So I'm not surprised that that's happened there. A rare mistake. But it's a rare chance tonight for these guys to jump themselves a little bit higher on the leaderboards, because we've got some of the faster guys out tonight with the visiting or participating in the FIA event in Sydney for the manufacturers in the nations.
With Keaton, Viper Z and Jono Stan all out, there's at least a win here on offer, because Keaton, you just don't simply beat Keaton on pace. It doesn't happen.
It's impossible. Absolutely
He's
impossible.
He's too quick. He's an absolute alien. If you want to see an alien in action, just watch Keaton on a stream.
Yeah, go back and watch any of the RaceOnOz stuff, and Keaton's an absolute freak. Revo Brian at the moment, Dragon doing a 1:30. Let's have a look what the second place guys have done. 1:29. So these guys are lapping a little bit quicker on the same compound, but a better. It's a more fresher tyre. I don't know how you say that in proper English, but it's a newer tyre, and they're chasing each other down. Razor at the moment stuck within Norm's slipstream, and that seemed to be the case when it was the other way around too. And they've got Brian though for company, and Brian might be slowing them down a little bit, so they're going to need to make quick work of him here. So Brian did a 1:30.8 compared to Norm's last lap, 1:30, so almost. That's 0.8 that last lap, almost a second if you round it up. And you can just see how close they are to each other now. And they're going to be very, very, very ready to get the overtake. Not too aggressive though. Otherwise we'll see probably someone's race fall apart if they get to a little bit touching aggressive. A little bit of a squirt of the overtake boost. And Norm's used that to perfection there. Gets it up the inside of Brian, and now he can start working on increasing the lead over Razor, who is still stuck in behind Brian. Because these two, Razor and Norm, they're pretty much on the same stint and routine in their current race at the moment, as we've gone 20 minutes now. Let's have a look at that overtake from Norm. That was a beautiful little overtake. Watch him use a squirt. There it was, flashing and then into the corner. Thank you very much. I'll take that. First place. Keith McDonald's watching. Thought you'd be out partying in Sydney, bro. But you're here watching us. And there's Razor 47, who has finally gotten around Revo Bryan. And now he's made easy work of him into turn 1. And his job and his mission is now to catch Norm, who is almost 2 seconds up the road. That's a huge gap that Razor has to now build up on and close the gap. And you can see that's 4th place Gruber, who will also want to try get around Brian here. So Brian, a bit of a moving chicane for these top 3. But it's all about strategy at the moment, and if you've made the right call at the right time, I think that's going to really determine the outcome of this one. Bit of overtake from Gruber. Up the hill. It's going to be the same corner we saw an overtake before, and it is. And Gruber slots it in beautifully. And I've been forgetting to mark and clip the race, so I'm going to start it from lap 14. So Norm, 1.3 seconds. Oh, he's done the same thing we saw Razor do. Out wide, understeery, losing all the positions. Now he needs to get back up into the race pace. And he's lost 3 positions, down into 4th. And Norm will not be happy with himself. Here's the replay. As you can see, they come down the hill. Turned in. Everything was looking good for Norm. But there it was. The understeer just caught him out. And then he struggled to get back up to pace at the moment. So he's back into 4th and risky there. We'll now have a bit of a slipstream with Norm. So it is an endurance race, and focus is one of the main things that if you drop off for just a moment, we were saying earlier, it can really wreck your next lap, and it can clearly affect the outcome of this one, because Norm was looking so strong. Groove was sitting tight though, and so was Razor. I haven't noticed any crazy strategies being sort of pulled into focus yet. I don't know if you've seen anything.
That all seems fairly consistent here. I can't tell if anyone's trying to throw something left field, but let's see how it pans out. Yeah,
sometimes it can be just one of the drivers, a bit of a dark horse that comes out of nowhere with an insane strategy. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And in comes Brian for his pit stop, taking the mediums off. Let's see what he opts to from this point on. He's out and onto the soft tyre, so he's onto the quicker compound. Remember, they've got to use all 3 tonight. But Dragon earlier on in the chat was saying how easy it is to make a mistake here, and it is. It's a very technical track that you don't get your turn in right, don't find your apex, or you get caught out with oversteer, understeer. It's just going to ruin you. It's just going to ruin your day, and it's already taken a few victims early on. So Little Blacko inside 7th place at the moment. He's in front of Holden Man. And we'll just watch this gap, because it looks like Holden Man's on a bit of a charge at the moment, because the gap holds steady at 1.2, 1.3. Little Blacko seems to have control of this part of the track. Revo Bryan, he popped out of the pit lane into 5th place, and he's got a bit of clean air ahead of him, so he'll be happy with that. His next target ahead is Captain Risky, and he's in 4th, obviously. Let's have a look at their current compounds and where they're sitting, because strategy is all important in this. Oh, Risky! Out of nowhere! I don't know if that was a bit of lag. But watch this. Oh, he just tried to cut the corner a little bit too aggressively, I think. So he's back in form, down there in 4th place. And see Revo Bryant. Revo's got the he's got those good soft tyres on at the moment, so he's going to be quickly approaching this man, and he tries to squeeze through. Doesn't quite work out for him there. Needs to get back on the power a little bit quickly. Risky cuts it back across and blocks the run, and any chance of Brian getting a bit of an overtake is wiped off the board. Captain Risky goes defensive again into the left-hander, and he's been caught out, braked, overcooked it, and out wide, and it has released Brian, and that is the end of that little battle.
Aiden's just Captain Risky's just had his own little moment again. If you have a check back at the stream there about 15 seconds ago, seemed to put himself off in the grass.
Captain Risky, oh, we will. This is the moment it all went wrong. Here with Captain Risky. Oh, that's what we were watching, yeah. So he's back, he's in 5th place. He's all over the place at the moment. I don't know if he's struggling with those mediums. You can see they're sort of halfway gone. Yeah, not surprising. Into the pit lane. Pit crew ready as usual. Let's see what compound Risky's gone for this time round. Long hold with the fuel stop, and on the hards. So Risky, by my calculations, has fulfilled the obligation to use all 3 tyres. From here on in, he can do what he wants. So let's see how long he holds onto these hards. So mediums for Razor, as you can see, they're looking pretty good as he's pushing to the limits there. Groover, very similar situation. When Groover's got a lot of overtake remaining. Brian on the soft tyre, he's just gone to those, and you can see they're new, so he's going to be putting in some very quick lap times. His last lap was a 1:29. So he's now lapping the same pace the guys he's chasing down were when they were on the good tyre. Overtake there for Chopper Dog. He's trying to get away from Hatfield slightly. And these two are now in close quarters combat. Hatfield is on the soft, so not surprising that we're watching Hatfield make some gains. He's looking for his way through at the moment. It's just not there. There's no track room for Hatfield. You might get him here though. Chopper Dog out wide and back onto the line to get onto the power a little bit quicker. But look at the Hatfield had the pace through the last final section of corners, and he's gone up and ahead of Revo Bryant. Chopper Dog there onto the brakes, and he won the battle of the late breakers at the same time.
Hatfield's starting to chew his way through the overtake though. I wonder if that's going to cost him a little bit later in the race. You have a look at Chopper Dog, he's barely used anything, and Hatfield's almost used a quarter of his overtake.
Yeah, that might come back to haunt him, you're right. It very much might. But this is how it all went. There was Hatfield on the outer line, Chopper Dog on the inside. He saw it happen, he just let it go by.
Bit of a battle going on between Little Blacko and Pubs here, down in 7th and 8th. Could be interesting.
They are. Pubs has gone for a move. Blacko sees him there on the apex, lets him go through. Great little move from Pubs. That's textbook overtaking, and Little Blacko did the right thing as well, leaving the room. Some people out there could learn a thing or two from those two.
Tyre differential there would have made a lot of difference there. Oh, mediums for Pubs, hards for Little Blacko. Can't see that ever working out in Blacko's favour.
No, never will. So he's done the right thing. This is the overtake. Pubs flicks to the inside. He had the advantage through the corner. And Little Blacko, well, job done. Now, Pubs. He's now starting to force his hand on Chobodog. Chobodog, I think he's gone in. He did. So Chobodog's into the pit lane. That releases Pubs. And Little Blacko stays out as well. Holden Man into the pits. So a few of the drivers now changing tyres, maybe getting fuel. Let's see what Holden does. He's gone hards. So not surprising, he's also fulfilled his obligation. Razor leads this one by 4 seconds.
Inside comment from Norm saying that Razor's on a different planet here. Maybe we're seeing something come to fruition here.
Maybe. A different planet. He's just hit a 129.6. His mediums look good. His fuel is about a quarter to go. His overtake, he's got about 70, just over 75% remaining. So he's looking good for the final half hour here. While the pit entrance is super tight, Chris. Absolutely monumentally narrow. So they're doing well to charge at it at speed. This is Groover, same sort of situation with his tyres and fuel. His overtake's a little bit more, so Groover has decided to save that overtake boost. Sauce at the moment for Brian, and you can see he's got almost all his overtake, and he's got fuel as well. He's got a quarter more fuel than the two guys ahead of him, so that might make the difference. I don't know how much of a difference it will make. He's 8 seconds behind the leader, 4 seconds behind Groover. That could mean Brian might be one to watch out for here, because he's definitely got the pace and the quick tyres as well. 128.6, 173 is the fastest lap from Brian, and he's stayed within the 128s. So this man is on a mission. Don't count him out yet. He's in third. I think he's definitely going to be fighting for the top spot before the end of this. This one's up. 28 minutes to go. Lap 21. And he's looking good. He's in the rhythm now. This is Norm. He's just gone to hards. So Norm has also used all 3 compounds. And he's also got the same amount of
Races
fuel.
in the pits.
He's also got the same amount of fuel as the other two. So Brian up into second there as Razor comes out onto the hard tyre, and he's taken fuel. I think Groover's going to lose a lot of time here after that strategy call, running a little bit longer. I'm not sure if the overcut is going to work. We'll have to keep an eye on it, because this could be the lap that Groover comes in. Let's have a look. I don't know. Just Razor seemed to do that very quickly. It was a very quick stop from Razor. So I don't know. Was Razor on the hard tyres then? I wasn't watching. Oh, the medium tyres?
Razor was on the mediums.
He was?
He's now on the hards. He's used all of his compounds,
Yeah, he's used his compounds too. I missed writing down his medium. So there he is in third place. He's backed off from Brian in second place by 5.6. The leader 6.5. So you can see Brian is really starting to make gains on the front runners, and will be fighting for the win. Groover now coming around the final sector of the track, and we're just waiting to see if he's into the pit lane. Brian will definitely be released here, I think. He will. So Groover's in. It's a battle between Razor and Groover, and I don't think Groover's going to be able to do it quick enough. Razor across the timing line. Groover's still getting the tyres changed. And he's going to take some fuel. So Razor is well and truly ahead of him. Onto the hard tyres now. The gap, 9 seconds. Even more, actually, because Norm has slotted in between them. So it's about 10, 11 seconds between Razor and Groover. Where did Groover lose all that time? I just don't understand what happened to Groover. He's on the hard tyre. He's got half fuel. He's got a lot of overtake. Razor, hard tyre. He's got a little less fuel, so he must have short fueled him. That was probably the difference. That's probably why Razor was so quick in and out of the pits, while Groover was actually standing still a lot longer taking fuel. So that might be an answer to my conundrum. 25 minutes to go. It's been a pretty straightforward affair. A few mistakes from some of them, but it's easy enough to do here at Autopolis. And now
Consensus is about 41 laps for the race.
41. They might squeeze it in, especially if Brian keeps lapping the rate he's lapping at, because it's a very quick pace. So Pubs is in behind Hatfield, so Hatfield's up into the top 5. Pubs was looking strong early on. Let's see if he can't mount an overtake shortly here on Hatfield. He's got the old retro Williams livery. Is there one person that makes all the liveries for RaceOnOz, or is a few creatives amongst them?
There's a couple of creatives amongst them. There's a couple of standouts in terms of the livery side of things. There's Viper Z, there's Captain Risky that make a lot of top-notch liveries. And then there's a couple that aren't too bad that make the liveries. Hatfield's not too bad at making the liveries. Blacko does an alright job. Big Chopper Dog makes a pretty decent livery.
Talking of Chopper Dog, he's just made a sweet overtake on Risky. Down into the first turn, onto the brakes hard. He'll take that. Well done. So he's now into 8th place. Chopper Dog had a good race in the Nürburgring last week. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to emulate the same performance here tonight. Jamie asking which fuel difference between Groover and Razor. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at Razor. So fuel, this is for Razor. You can see he's almost just over a quarter room to go. Using a bit of overtake as well. No one around him, so he looks like he's trying to just build a bit of a lead or catch the front runner. That's interesting. This is Groover. He's got more fuel. So that's why I think Groover did lose a bit of time over Razor, because in that last pit stop he was taking a little bit more fuel on board. They're on the same rotation in pit strategy calls and stints, now on the hard tyre, but fuel is a very different story. And this is where we think tonight's race is going to be won or lost. It's going to be on strategy, and fuel could be a deciding factor here. So Groover's in 4th. He's trying to pull in Norm, who's in the final podium position. So don't discount Groover just yet, because he's on a bit of a different run. This is Brian in the lead, 5.2 seconds over Razor. So Brian was able to look after his mediums early on very well. And I imagine he's going to do the same thing on the soft tyre too. Just seems to have that light touch that you need as a race driver, especially when you need to look after your tyres. So coming up to lap 26 now, Brian passes the pit lane entrance, goes across the timing line. 129.2 that lap. Little Blacko's done a 127.8 at some point, so Blacko's put in the quickest time so far. Is there an extra point for fastest lap? I've never actually checked that rule for this one.
There normally is. There's normally an extra point for pole position. There's normally an extra point for fastest lap. I'm not too sure whether they're running it this season or not, but it's normally worth a little bit of something if you can put yourself on the right tyre at the right time.
Yeah, I know the FNL1 boys in the F1, they go for the extra point if they can. And it's looking like this year it might change the outcome at the end of it. It is very tight. They had a week off this week, but obviously they usually race a Friday night, which was Valentine's Day, and these guys on Sunday doesn't bother them. So I'm sure some of the boys have got some Valentine's Day stories that they had to go do this Friday.
Hope so.
Norm's staying in 3rd right now. He just seems to be very comfortable there. And Groover, same sort of thing. Doesn't really want to battle and slow himself down because his race is between Razor. And somehow Brian has managed to get himself into the top flight. He does that every now and then. And you can see Razor just in the background. But it's not close enough to gain an advantage in the slipstream. And it's not close enough to sort of mount an attack and use the overtake button. So we're just waiting and seeing at the moment where everything sort of falls into place when we come into the final 10 minutes. We've got 20 minutes to go. So it's been 40 minutes of racing. And it's been very clean. Very, very clean. Hatfield still chasing down Pubs. Pubs got that overtake a few laps ago. Little Blacko's into the pits. He's currently not the fastest lap holder anymore. Hatfield's done it. With a 1:27.015. So these guys are very quick. Blacko comes out. Chopper Dog in behind him. And I'm not sure, but I think Blacko overcut Chopper Dog then. Because I'm pretty sure Chopper had the lead on Little Blacko before that rotation of pit stops. So well done to Blacko. The overcut seems to be the working strategy. Let's double check fuel and tyres as they sit. Little Blacko now onto the soft. I haven't checked if he got the hards used or yet. I'm sure he has.
Just a heads up, there is an extra point for fastest lap. There's also an extra point available for pole position.
Well, there you go. So 2 extra points on offer. So Chopper Dog, we must have overcut him because Chopper Dog, his tyres are absolutely worn out. Over halfway, its fuel's halfway. Little Blacko doesn't have as much fuel. Keep a close eye on it though, that could change things up. Razor now leads this race. So Brian must have gone into the pit lane because he's now on soft tyres. And he's now back 5 seconds from Razor. That's Brian.
Has Brian used the hard tyres yet?
I haven't got him down as hards. I think he did a very long stint on the mediums.
He started mediums and then went softs for his second stint.
So he's got a medium soft.
Did he do a lap? Did he do one single lap on hards?
If he did, I missed it.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's not. It wouldn't be surprising if that's what he did, because being the slower tyre, obviously, get rid of it. Does work. We saw that happen. We saw that exact strategy play out today in the Nations.
Was it Miyazano?
Yeah, he was the first to pit, got rid of the harder compound, and he had to do 2 extra stints on the soft, but it was having that extra soft compound at the end that got him the lead, because Latovsky had run a very long stint on the softs, which I thought was going to come back to bite him. I mean, it only just, but you know, Miyazano had the better tyre, and that was probably the small difference in the end. So, I mean, it does work out. It does work out. So Brian, up into second place. He's primed himself for a good finish here. And if he did use the hard tyre, he used it without any of us noticing. Norm's still in third place with Groover there in fourth. But
Man's just run wide, lost his attack on Captain Risky there back in 9th to 10th.
Older man. He's gone just around Risky. He was charging on him, wasn't he? Oh, that last corner too can be so unforgiving. But Holder man gets it back together quickly, and he does get the overtake as Risky takes to the pit lane. So Razor coming around, start lap 30, and he's looking good. The chase is on though for Brian. Let's have a look at the time difference in lap times. Jesus, a 1:27.8 there from Brian. Razor A 129. So it's unbelievable pace at the moment with Brian. He does have the better tyre on, obviously. Panagiotis Kosmides is now following. Sorry if I just butchered your name, but thank you very much for hitting the follow button. And it's lovely to have new fans out here today. So welcome along. If you are new, my name is Josh. Again, your commentator tonight. I've got a special guest, Daniel, also known as XLX, with me in the commentary booth. And every time we have a race, you can catch it live on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Mixer now. If you're a bit into the Mixer, and don't forget to follow us on the other socials, Twitter and Instagram as well. Keep them quite up. I keep them pretty well updated. Sometimes I do a little bit of a different thing on Twitter to what I do on Instagram and Facebook, just because I can. But Razor now, his lead is starting to drop as Brian quickly reels him in. The gap now less than just over half a second rather. And I don't think that's going to last much longer. Here he goes, Brian on the charge up towards the first turn. Razor doesn't go defensive yet. He's a little bit safe. So we'll go through turn 1 and Brian will get another shot out of turn 2. Groove is into the pit lane. He's getting rid of those hard tyres now. Brian's still charging. He's still trying to catch Razor. He's done a great job. He's managed to keep the distance at 0.6. The lowest we've seen it.
Razor with 2 laps of fuel left. I wonder what he can do with Brian. See if he can hold him off and make his next stint a little bit easier. Just to say that Brian's gone a little bit wide on the exit of that last corner.
He did. Thank you, Crystal Butcher, as well, for hitting the like button. Thanks for joining us tonight and liking tonight's race. There was a slight mistake there from Brian. Just a little one. It's not going to hurt him too much, but it means all the little bit of time he just lost, he now has to work back at it. Razor will be frantically checking the mirrors, making sure Brian isn't trying to chuck his car into the space that Razor isn't yet occupying. He's trying to make that car 4 times wider than he is into the third last corner. Brian gets it around the outside, back across to the inside, and Razor now giving chase. He's going to continue on with the lap, so he's got 0 fuel to go. Let's have a look how little he's got. There's almost nothing in that tank, but his tyres obviously lasting the distance. Brian on the soft tyre, and it's not surprising to see that he's starting to grow a little bit of a distance on them. The time gap increasing every corner. Norm is into the pit lane. Norm also one of the podium challengers here tonight. Bit of a hold. Pubs will come in. So hard to soft now for Norm. So expect these lap times now to start dropping as the faster guys now get back onto the faster tyre for the final 12 minutes of this one. This is about to get very, very tasty. And this is where the strategies start condensing and everybody starts catching back up together. Concertina effect is about to begin. This is what happens with big strategic races. It's weird how it happens. The field will just spread out, and then come the last pit stop for everyone, it all just brings everyone back together again for an interesting shootout. So I think we're going to have a very interesting one between at least the top 5, and then the rest of them will be fighting it out for the lower places. Little Blacko's up in the 6th at the moment. Pubs is there in 7th. Chopper Dog in 8th. Risky there in 9th, and Holden Man holds steady in 10th place. So Razor's in. He's going to need a lot of fuel. Hatfield's up to 3rd. He'll come into the pits. Groover's going to come around. Razor will get out in front of Groover. So Razor still has the lead over Groover now. Reeve O'Brien, he's almost got a 20-second lead. I don't know if that's going to be enough to fill up and take fuel. Bit of a small mistake. Let's have a quick look at what happened to him. Time's looking good. Oh, nah, that wasn't a mistake. That was just using all available track. And a little bit of the grass, just for good measure. The time has dropped. Interval between Razor and Brian, not surprisingly, 18 seconds. Groover's up to third as Norm gives chase in fourth place. Let's get you an update with the tyre situation, fuel situation. So there is Brian's. His soft tyres are looking good. His fuel will need to be filled up. There's no way he'll make it to the end. Another 10 minutes with that amount of fuel. Razor should be okay. And he's on the soft tyre. Just trying to think, how long did the soft tyre last time? Is Razor going to go to the end now on the soft tyre?
I reckon he's going to go to the end here. I reckon if Brian's still going to use the hard tyres, it could come down to a close finish.
It could. Oh, and Chris, I've just realised what you were saying. It is Stats with Dan, or Facts with Dan. That is the Daniel in the commentary booth. You're right. It is the famous Stats with Daniel.
Not too many facts tonight, though. Too much concentration.
Yeah, it's hard to do two things at once, especially when you're a male. It's even harder. So imagine me, I have to sit here, commentate, and hit the buttons on the keyboard to get the right car.
And try and read out the facts to Daniel.
And try to read out the facts to Daniel. And read out the chat. Unbelievable. Anyway, I'm getting better at it. Here's Groover up into third place. Let's have a look at the distance between these two. 9/10. So yeah, Norm's going to be within slipstream range. And Groover could be defending that position before you know it. Just want to see what Brian does. He's definitely got a little bit longer left in the tank because he's got fuel available. But his gap has dropped. He did have an almost 20-second lead, and Razor's managed to almost 4.5 seconds. So Captain Risky comes out just ahead of Brian. So blue flags for Risky. Oh, a bit of touching on the first turn. That's not what Brian needed. But he is around one of the lap cars now. That Razor might have to, it might hold him up. But being a blue flagged shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Captain Risky with fresh tyres, I reckon he's trying to unlap himself here, trying to save a little bit of face.
I think so. He's not giving up, is he? He's staying close quarters in behind Brian. He's right up into the exhaust fumes of Brian's SF19 Super Formula car. Captain Risky on the power early. He's very, very eager to get around Brian and unlap himself. He's done it just there. He's allowed to do that as long as he doesn't hold up Brian. So there shouldn't be any protest later on. So Captain Risky can get on with his race. So can Brian. Chopper Dog into the pit lane. And he comes out ahead of Risky, clearly, because there's a big gap between them. But you can see Risky getting the blue flags. Now, I didn't know this. Obviously, I know the yellow flag rule, but I didn't actually think the game penalised you when you overtook someone under the yellow. It happened to me the other day in an FIA race, of all races.
Quite nasty. I think as Jason was saying before, that when he was doing his qualifying lap, that he overtook someone on a yellow flag and he got a 6-second penalty. Yeah. Just on the practice side of things.
That's insane. Yeah, well, like. With this situation that happened, because I know there's been a lot of noise made about the penalty system, but I think there was a crash just after the first turn at Laguna on the left-hand side, and the yellow hadn't been thrown up yet, and it probably was thrown up just as I did the overtake, and for whatever reason I got a penalty for it, even though the car I overtook was the car off the track. So.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, and I got about a 5-second penalty for it, and I was just like, well, my race is all but over already, because you just can't make that time back, especially when the races are so consistent and make zero mistakes. There's no way to claw that lost time back.
No, 5 seconds, not unless you're up the front, you can sort of stream your way back through the field. Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
No, never. So, yeah, I'm interested to see. I didn't, because obviously with blue flag rule, you've got usually it's three corners, depending, what category of racing you're doing. But let's say it's 3 corners. Risky still getting them, so he's not getting a penalty. But in a different situation, I wonder if the game would hand out a penalty for not obeying blue flags. Anyway,
take Formula One side of things, where if the person that's getting the blue flags is clearly quicker than the person behind, then they wouldn't have to enforce the blue flag rules. So Captain Risky obviously has a tyre advantage here, so he's pulling away from Reeve O'Brien. I don't reckon that he should be penalised here because he's stretching such a gap. Like, he's gone up to what would you say? Probably about 4 or 5 second of a gap here. 3 or 4 second worth of gap.
Let's have a look. Oh, probably about 1.5, 2 seconds, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying to penalise Risky.
His own for being penalised.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, common sense. Like you said, he's gaining time. He's quicker. So, because Brian, let's have a look. His lap time last lap was 1:29.3. Risky 1:28.5. So he's clearly faster. So yeah, obviously common sense falls into this one, and you wouldn't penalise him. But yeah, because obviously the game makes those calculations sometimes. Just wonder if people would get penalised unfairly. But you're right, he wouldn't deserve it because he's not getting in the way. We've just gone 4 minutes, just about 4 minutes to go. The gap now for Brian is 9 seconds. Let's get you an update on the tyres and fuel. He's almost out of fuel. So he will need to come in for a short splash and dash for the final. It's going to be like the final lap that Brian gets this onto. And we're not sure if he's actually done the hards yet. So we might be seeing Brian come out on the hards for the last stint, for the last lap. That could be what he's playing at here. That's if he hasn't taken the hards yet, of course. Because with 3.5 minutes to go, a lap time of 1:30. He'll probably we've got about 2 laps to go. So yeah, we're going to get close to that 40-41 mark. Here's Razor. He's got the fuel. His tyres will definitely last. And he's got a bit of overtake as he's using it now to pull in that gap. You can see his LED glows red because he doesn't have a lot left. He's got at least 25% remaining in that battery. What does Brian still got a full tank. So, yeah, I think Brian's coming out on the harder tyre here and he's going to use that overtake to make up the difference. Is he coming in this lap? No. He's still got enough fuel for one more lap. And the time lapse, because it's not an overall lap count being the time lapse. If you're a little bit quicker here and there, you might have an extra lap or two to add than what you sort of worked out in your own strategic plan. Because I've seen races where it's come down to people going, there's only going to be about a lap left, but there were 2 because the lap leader crossed the line with about 3, 4, 5 seconds to go. So we'll see what happens here. This is getting very tasty. Groover's got 3rd place. And you can see his tyres are starting to wear away significantly. And he's got overtake to use too. He will have fuel to the end. Hatfield's there in 5th place and he's in behind Norm. So it's going to be a very close battle for the remaining positions here. 3rd, 4th and 5th. Norm also on used tyres. And Hatfield, we're giving him a hard time for using overtake early on, but he's got more overtake than the 2 guys ahead of him. And he's on the quicker tyre. That's got less use. So, Hatfield might be on for a podium here if he can play his cards right. This is getting very interesting. So it looks like Matt Simmons and his strategic mind, it has worked out perfectly here for this end of this race. Back to the front. Reeve O'Brien into the pits.
Brian's in the pits.
He is. Razor takes the lead of the race. And we've got, this will be the last lap. Brian out. He's got to give chase. Oh, he's on the hard tie, so he did go hard on the last lap. Oh, I think the gap's too big. Surely 6 seconds. He can't do that in the lap.
Razor just needs to bring it home here and he's secure to win.
He has no mistakes. 7.2 seconds, 7.1. Brian, use your overtake, buddy. He should have used it on the outlap and the inlap too. Because there's no point saving it if it's not going to be used. That could have been...
Hatfield versus Norm for 4th and 5th here is looking quite juicy. Half a second between them.
It is definitely. If Groover makes a small error here, because these guys' tyres, they're very worn. So if Groover or Norm make an error, Hatfield's going to eat them up, and he's very close. Hatfield gets the wiggle on. It's getting very antsy as we run to the final. There goes the Kerr system on Norm. Gets a little bit of a boost over Hatfield. Razor, 7.3 seconds. This is the final lap. There's a confirmation. And Brian, he's not going to be able to do it. He saved. He should have used that Kerr. Should have used that Kerr system. Hatfield's getting close. Here goes Razor though. Razor crosses the finish line in first place. And it will be Brian in second rather. Groover will take third. Norm's just got ahead of Hatfield, and Hatfield was looking good. But Norm's kept it together for the final lap, and he'll get 4th place. Great little battle to end this one off. There's Groover just ahead, takes 3rd place. Norm gets 4th. Hatfield confirmed 5th. Good little run from Hatfield. Here's Pubs for 6th. And little Blacko in 7th place now. And Captain Risky's confirmed 9th. And Chopper Dog there in 8th place. But it was Razor who just got the edge over Brian. But Brian had a brilliant strategy that he just needed he should have used that Kerr system a little bit more, I think, because he saved it.
Blacko setting himself into the wall at the end there. Classic. Cool.
Great race. Now, round 3 next week on Sunday. I can't remember where they are, but I'll use my calendar because I've got it all typed down. Don't forget, if you want to check the calendar too, check out our website at demo1garage.com.
Little stat from Risky. It's his 51st round, 63rd race without a win in RaceOnOz.
Wow. That's a
little tidbit to have there.
That's a bit of a count. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you for the kind words with the commentary, and yeah, well done, Daniel. That was great fun. I don't know what you thought of that race. Bit of strategy there. Got a bit exciting at the end.
It's good to see a close fought contest for once.
It is. We had no the top level guys are all busy with the official GT Sport stuff. So next week on the 23rd, it is Laguna Seca. I've got a 50-minute race with the right mediums and right hards are mandatory. 9 times tyre, 3 times fuel, and that will start at 7:30 p.m. So hopefully you can join us for that one. Are you racing next week yourself, or are you watching next week?
I reckon I'll be watching next week. I reckon there could be a potential with a manufacturer clash, with manufacturers staying on the Sunday.
Very true. Very true. I'm going to get back into that myself. Well, yeah, thanks for having a chat tonight, and thanks to RaceOnOz guys. It's been a lot of fun. But that's going to end tonight's broadcast. So thanks to everyone that's come along, and everyone that's hit like, the new followers, and everyone that's had a bit of a chat. Jono, St. Croix 3-hour next Saturday. Get keen. That'll be for the World Endurance. What do you call it? The World Endurance Tournament.
World Endurance Tour.
Tour. That's it.
Tour. I'll be there for that. Don't you worry about it. Jaguar's going to be pretty quick. Don't you worry about that. Better watch out. I reckon Keaton 231 with the McLaren's going to be on pole, but I don't think he's quite got the race pace to match the Jaguar.
Well, maybe we'll have to broadcast it. Thank you, Jamie Miser, for the like as well, bro. Thank you very much. Well, if I do get the time, I'll let everybody know. That's going to end tonight's broadcast. So thanks again, dude, and we'll catch up a bit later.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks everyone as well on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Mixer. That's going to end us as well. So good night. Have a great week. Rest of your weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, Monday, we've got the SFR GT Challenge here on the channel. So if you want more racing action, get to it, 11 a.m. Brisbane. Anyway, that's it. Good night.